Hello everyone, it's Georgia down in Australia, and this is the first project for this year, or this year's challenge, Psalm of the Year. Normally I do a different theme around every month, but this year I've decided that I'm going to sort of back off on the stress of having to have a theme every year, and I've sort of gone with my reaction to this word of the year that everybody gets really excited about. I don't do word of the year. I won't talk about it on this video because I think I've gone on about it in every other social media place. But I thought rather than having a word of the year, how about we focus on having a psalm of the year, choosing a psalm that's really special to you at the moment that you can pray with throughout the entire year and create some art projects along the way. So I'm going to start with a bookmark because I'm thinking, well, we need something in our reading Bibles to mark the psalm so that we can get to it quickly every time we want to go there, which hopefully will be every day. And I'm going to have a bit of fun with my palette knife. I'm putting some white paint onto my paint palette, but the other colors I'm going to pretty much put straight onto the bookmark. Now I have cut myself a piece of card. It's kind of lightweight card, and it measures about 2.5 by 6.5 something, 6.5, 7 inches. But you know, whatever size you want to make it is fine. It's your bookmark and it's going into your Bible, so you know what kind of size you want. My psalm for the year is Psalm 42, and I'm going to take one line from that psalm, and that line is deep calls to deep. There are so many meanings behind that, and so I'm going to do a sort of a rough watery kind of look on my bookmark. So I'm getting some really darkish blues, and of course this doesn't want to come out now. It's getting to the end of its life. So this is what I do when these start to run out, because they're these are the Dina Wakley paints, and I do think that the design is a little bit flawed because after a while the paint doesn't come out anymore, and most people assume that the bottle is empty, but there's actually still a whole lot of paint in there. So I sort of get a knife and slice it open, use up the paint that I need, and then stick it back together again with washi tape, because there's usually quite a few sessions of paint left in the bottle, even though it won't squeeze out. So I see there's heaps and heaps of paint in there, just not coming out. So I'm going to grab some here with my palette knife and pop it directly onto my page. And I am just very roughly splotching it around. Wipe off the excess here. Oops, making a bit of a mess tonight. I'm putting some other shades of blue, sort of here, there, and everywhere. I'm leaving this section here because I want that to be kind of white. So some dark blue, pop some light blue in there. And I'm just kind of running my palette knife over them so they sort of blend a little bit, but not too much. And I'm not making it really smooth because I want this to be very textured, so it kind of has that feel of ocean waves crashing down on something. A little bit of this ocean colour. A bit up there. And then I get my white, which is already on the palette here, and splotch it around in this area that I want to be white. and let some of it blend. Oops. Get another layer of white over the top. I'm going to leave that dry, and then when it's dry I'm going to put some more white over the top and just sort of fiddle with it a little bit until I get something that I like. So I like that, I don't mind that, but I just want a little bit more sort of white down the side. Now, being the cheat that I am, this is one that I'm making now, and here is one that I made earlier. So I've sort of got a choice of two of them, and I think I'm going to go with this one, which is kind of a bit of a smoother look, and it's not as dark as the other. I might end up using both of them, but I think I'm going to, oops, look what I just did. I think I'm going to end up using this one as my Psalm 42 bookmark, and I'll use the other one for something else. Just clean up this mess that I just made. Now, before I continue with the front of the bookmark, I just want to do something about the back, and I'm going to stick the actual psalm, which I have cut out from one of my art supply Bibles. If you do not have a Bible that you can chop up for art purposes, I know it's not an easy thing to get your hands on, and I just happen to have a whole lot of them because people were throwing them away. So I inherited a whole lot of excess Bibles, so I have the great advantage of being able to cut pieces out when I'm creating my faith art. Now, if you don't have this sort of thing, you can very easily just download something off the internet, print it, and then stick that onto the back of your Bible, or you might want to stick decorative paper or paint it or anything you like. Now, if you're covering it like I am with any sort of, be it a Bible page, Bible verse, or just decorative paper, do this after you've painted the front, because see the mess that I've got here from all the paint that sort of made its way to the back. So paint the front first before you cover the back. That way you won't get paint on whatever it is that you're sticking, especially if you're sticking an actual Bible verse. You don't want to end up with paint all over it so you can't even read it. So I'm just sticking that down, and once it's dry I've just trimmed it down, and I'm going to punch my hole now, simply so that when I go writing or doing anything else on the front, I know where the hole's going to be and I don't accidentally write in that space. I did measure that center. It doesn't look centered, but I think it's just because of the fact that there's more blue than there is white. So I'm going to trust that it's centered. And what I'm going to do now is just write deep calls to deep across here. Okay, so deep calls to deep, I still need to rub out the pencil lines. And on the back, I've just grabbed some distress ink and inked around the edges of the bookmark so that it doesn't look quite so unfinished. I might end up painting a layer of gel medium or collage medium or something just to seal it, but I'll sort of leave that till later on. Now, all I want to do is put a bit of a tassel on the end of it, and I've grabbed a few pieces of wool or yarn, and I'm also going to get some embroidery cotton. Now, I'm not making this too thick because it's only a little hole that I've made, and I have not reinforced it with anything. Perhaps I should. And so I don't want it to be tearing. So I'm just grabbing all of them like this, putting them through the hole. And pop them through here. Be nice and gentle so I don't rip the top of the bookmark. It is made a bit stronger by the fact that there's acrylic paint along the top. You might want to add an eyelet to yours, or you might even want to laminate the bookmark. That would make it a lot stronger. I half thought of doing that, but I want the texture to still be like feelable. I'm a touchy-feely girl, and I thought if I laminate it, it's going to be behind plastic, so it won't be quite so textury as it is now. So I've left it like that. Now, kind of cut these a little bit to size, but without making them all the same length, because I want it to be a little bit shabby. And the reason I put this embroidery cotton is because I'm grabbing some beads, and I want to do a bit of a bead dangle thing at the end of this. So I've threaded a series of beads. I kept them light in colour because I didn't want to darken it too much. At the very end, I've tied a double, triple, quadruple knot large enough so that my last bead does not fall through. And I'm going to leave just a little bit of the embroidery thread loose at the bottom of it, and I'm going to separate out all those little separate threads that make up the single thickness, just so I've got this really shabby looking tassel-y at the end of it. So when I pull them all down, I have this going on. You could do it to both of your embroidery thread pieces coming through, but I'm only going to do it to one of mine, so I'm going to cut this one a little bit shorter, keep it as part of the general ribbon mess here. And that is my completed bookmark for Psalm 42 in my case. Psalm, something else for you, our Psalm of the Year, bookmark to keep in your Bible, so that every time you need to get to your psalm and to pray your psalm, which hopefully is a daily occurrence, you can just very quickly find it with your bookmark. Okay, so if you are joining in this challenge or just making a random bookmark, I would love to see. So please do share either in my Facebook group, George's Bible Art, or in my Patreon community. If you are sharing this to any of your social places, please tag me, George's Bible, so I can come over and have a look. Okay, thank you very much for joining me, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.